nice to be here, number one. This is like home for me since we have one of our centers right here where you're at tonight. And so it's easy for me to come here, and it's always enjoyable to talk about it because we do so many things in this center. But I'm going to start on a little different note tonight because oftentimes people ask me, they said, well, what does it mean? What is an older adult? What is a senior? You know, what is that age? And if you note, there's all kinds of different ages out there. What is it for AARP? You all know? 50, right? 50. For another program, it's 55. For our meal programs here, 60. For Medicare, 65. There's no one age that says that. And it's kind of interesting because I often don't think of age as a factor. It really is less about age these days and more about state of mind, because age has become less and less of a factor. If you move to 2020, which is just what, 6 years away, 25% of the population will be 55 years and over in the country. It's already that way in Apache Junction. But in the country, it's going to be that way. Changing dynamics tremendously about what we've ever had in this country and even the world before. So our organization, and we've been around for 34 years, East Valley Adult Resources, but if you think about a center and you think about where people come, like this center, this is kind of a unique place here, this multi-generational center. This is not just a center for older adults, this is a center for all ages, what you have here. And the city of Apache Junction really has to be commended for developing this kind of center. A lot of communities simply don't have it. And developing it close to the police station, close to the library, close to City Hall is really a very neat thing to have. You have your complexes all in the same spot. But this center really came about back in a little before 2000. Back in '98, they started having some town hall meetings. And at that point, our senior center was in a wing of the library. We had one room, and one room was all we had. And it was a small room, too. And so we had very limited activities. And we were in there and we were doing some things, but we couldn't do too much because at our other centers were larger. And what I'm going to do tonight is talk a little bit about our programs at our centers and then about programs that we do for people in their homes. But at our centers, we have one in downtown Mesa. We have one in East Mesa, which is called Red Mountain, which is also a multi-generational center. And if you haven't, have any of you been to the Red Mountain Multi-Generational Center? If you have been there, you'll know a lot of similarities to this center. But at our centers, we have a lot of different programs, but one of the things we offer is a meal every day. Now, why is a meal so important to have every day? Because nutrition at any age is important. And sometimes, as one grows older, there's less people you have to prepare food for. And sometimes there's no one else that you have to prepare food for. It's great that you can go out, come to some place like this location, and have a meal Monday through Friday for a suggested donation. Not a fee, no income guidelines, no anything like that. Our suggested donation is $3.50 a meal. That's it. In your information there, you'll see I have the menu in there. All it takes is a phone call the day before, say, I'd like to come have lunch that day. That's it. That program serves a lot of people this time of year. We'll have, and if you haven't been in the multi-purpose room, which is just right across the hall here, that we can actually serve up to 200 people in that room. Now, I don't know how many we had today, and I should have checked, but I'm guessing we had probably about 100 to 120 for lunch today. But we have a lot of those kinds of programs. Meals is one of them. We also do a lot of health promotion programs. Again, why? It's important to learn about one's health and be responsible for one's health. So we bring in special speakers, we have health screenings, we have exercise classes, all those kinds of things that help people understand their health and hopefully treat it so it's important. Because who wants to go into the hospital? If you can catch something on the early end of something, that's the best way to do it. And so we find those kinds of programs are really important, and we do a lot of special interest kinds of classes too for people who might want to learn something new, craft class. If you would go into the multi-purpose room, let's say tomorrow morning, you would note we have a little corner in there where we sell clothing and books every day. Now, our clothing that we sell is mostly under $1. Our books, I think, are a quarter. Now, do we do it to make money? No, we don't. But it's something people often can utilize. And we sometimes have fashion shows that are off the rack fashion shows, off of our rack fashion shows. And they're really pretty neat. But anytime people can come in, it's amazing. People will pick up something, you know, and it's very inexpensive. It's just another way that they can do things. So each one of our centers is kind of unique, though. Each one of our centers has programs and services kind of to fit the clientele that are there. And so we might have one kind of program at Red Mountain that we might not have at this location. At Red Mountain, we're getting ready at the end of March 27th, and we'll have a Healthy Living Expo at our Red Mountain Center. Be 9 to 12 on that particular day. We have, I think, 40 different groups that are going to be there, different screenings, different things like that. Again, keeping people healthy is a key thing because people are living longer, right? I mean, we're all living longer and we're all aging every day. And every time I say we're all aging every day, everybody goes, not me. Maybe you, but not me, because we don't really think about it. You know, we don't really think about that because time goes on and oftentimes, you know, what is old to one person is young to another person. What is old to my 30-year-old daughter is young to me, right? I mean, that's how it is. And really the bottom line on this really comes down to whatever age you're at, whether you're 30, whether you're 50, whether you're 70, old is generally 15 years older than you are. So we do all these things with very active people. And active people can be really any age. I mean, we'll have somebody here in their 60s, in their 70s, in their 80s, in their 90s. And a lot of things that we do at our centers, we do with the help of volunteers. Volunteers are a key component of how we handle our programs. We have a very small staff. We have people that help drive. We have people at this center that actually go out and pick up people and bring them in here. We have actually 5 vehicles that are parked right behind this building that we utilize because there is no other transportation in Apache Junction. And so without that, they couldn't go. We also take them to the doctor and we take them to the grocery store. So people who can't drive can still get around in this area. Okay, you know. And we also have another program that we call Ride Choice. Ride Choice is kind of unique in that somebody doesn't drive anymore but wants to stay independent. Well, they need to get out to the grocery store. They need to go different places. They apply for our program, and if they're eligible, they go and find their own driver. We don't find it for them. We say, ask a neighbor. They sign up for the program. They do their log. They send it in. We send them a mileage check every month that they can then pay their driver. So they're not asking their driver for a free ride. That's hard to ask these days. I mean, gas is not cheap. It's not cheap to have a car. But they can ask a person, say, I'll be able to give you 44 cents a mile if you can transport me to the doctor, if you can transport me to, and we don't have any restrictions on it. If they want to go to church, if they want to go anywhere. Now, we do have a restriction on how many miles they can utilize that we'll reimburse per month. So you can't go and drive to California. But if it's anything that's reasonable, then we just go ahead and cover it. And that's our Ride Choice program. You will not find that program any place else in the entire valley. I mean, we're talking all of Phoenix metropolitan area. Apache Junction has the only one. And the entire funding for that comes directly from the city of Apache Junction, 100% of it. Because they felt it was important too. It was important to have some transportation options for people. Because at some point, if you can't drive anymore, that shouldn't be a reason that you can't stay in your own home. And that leads me to kind of the next phase of things that we do. We provide a lot of services for people who can't come to a center like this. Our Meals on Wheels, everybody knows what Meals on Wheels is. Everybody knows that program. But sometimes you don't think about what it takes to provide that single meal. I mean, we have to develop a menu that's acceptable, that meets all the nutritional guidelines, and sometimes there's a lot of them. Then we have to order the food. Then we have to get the food in here. We have to prepare the food. Then we have to package it up. And then we have to have drivers that go out and actually deliver the meal, make sure the person's home. They have to sign for that meal to make it official. And the biggest thing is not always the meal. It's the person delivering the meal. It's that delivery person, because that delivery person smiles as they hand the meal. And sometimes these people, that is the only person they will see that day. And when it's the only person you're going to see that day, that's kind of a big deal that you came to my door, you know, and that you smile and how are you doing today? You know, how's things going? Those little interactions are important for any of us because we're all social beings. We all like that human interaction. And so what happens with our drivers, if they see something that doesn't seem right, let's say they go to the door and the person's got the same nightgown on they had the day before. Then they'll come back and they'll let us know because we have outreach specialists, and we have an outreach specialist at every one of our centers that can then go out and see the person, see if there's anything else they need, because we have other types of programs we can offer. Let's say they need somebody checking on them, just once a day, a phone call. Well, we have a program, Triad. I was just talking with Constance about that before we started tonight. We have a program, Triad, that we have volunteers that are actually at the police department every single day of the year calling people for a wellness check. How are you doing? How are things today? If for some reason they don't answer, they're at the police department. They can literally, and I don't want to say this too much, they can literally turn their chair around and they can ask, could somebody go out and check on this person? Sometimes that's the difference of that person being around. And so they do this 365 days a year, not just Monday through Friday. So we have volunteers that actually help in that program all the time. So all these programs we have, and we have another program that we call Assistance for Independent Living that we offer in this area, where we get volunteers that help people one-on-one get to the grocery store, one-on-one get to the doctors. Sometimes some people need a little extra help, not necessarily in the mobility part, but just in waiting with them at the doctor's office. You know, it's one thing to get to the doctor's office and then you're let off and you go, okay, now I'm in the doctor's office. Now how am I going to get home? I'm all nervous that somebody's going to pick me up or not pick me up. If the person is sitting there with you, it's somebody to chat with. Because I don't know about you, but every time I've ever walked in a doctor's office, I wait quite a bit. It's not a quick process, you know. So if I have somebody else there I can chat with, it makes the time go faster. And then it also means that if I get something where I have a prescription, that person's going to be able to take me and get that prescription on the way home. Those are the kinds of programs that keep people independent. Our whole goal throughout our whole organization is to keep people independent, is to ensure that we do everything we can from the time they're fit to the time they're frail to make sure that we have services available that can help them remain in their own home.
Volunteers are valuable, and so we're looking at probably over $22 an hour if you're going to pay you for what you do, but there is no amount of money to reward you for the value that you provide for organizations. There are oftentimes the positions that nonprofits or civic entities within the city even, that there's no budget to cover. Either there was and there is no longer, or there's just not enough staff or resources to go around. So if you're thinking about the senior center here, there's, I imagined that there are over 50 volunteers who help make this building run and couldn't probably manage without them. So you want to hold yourself in high esteem as volunteers. Also, I know with confidence that you've contributed financially to causes in the past, but there are times when not even money can make the difference. It has to be feet on the street, boots on the ground. Being part of a civic organization certainly gives you opportunities to volunteer, but if you don't happen to belong to any of those, sometimes you may wonder, well, who needs me? And I am here to tell you a lot of people need you. The people that are receiving the benefit of what these organizations in the community provide. And so we're talking about our school system, where a lot of grandpas and grandmas step up and help with tutoring and getting kids through the lunch line, and just a lot of different ways that they help the schools do their job. And they have, I was told recently, as many as 100 to 200 people at any given time volunteering within the school district here in Apache Junction. So that is a lot of value that volunteers are offering there as well. The latest statistics are 2012, and in Arizona, the value of the volunteers who contributed their time and talent turned out to be $2.5 billion worth of service just in Arizona. And that's people giving 112 million hours of their time. So you know that there is an opportunity for people to be able to give of themselves. And the value to the individual is unmeasurable, because how you feel when you devote time to helping somebody else is not something you can put a price on. I always said that the work that I did outside of the classroom for the youngsters or in the community was money that you just don't take to the bank, but it is definitely in your heart and in your soul. So consequently, I've gotten the bug and I haven't been able to get rid of it. It's just one of those viruses that just hangs on. The skills that you can provide are so unique. You particularly are so unique. And so there's no way to evaluate all of the good things that a particular volunteer does for an organization. We had the opportunity to clean the Boys and Girls parking lot or playground area not too long ago as part of the Rotary Club. And to see the children being able to play outside, enjoy the ball games that they like to play outside, that does your heart good too. Although it was dirty, dirty work, and we looked like we were farmers when we were done, but it made a difference, and we had a great time doing it. So you get to have a camaraderie with other people. We didn't know some of the people on the food bank line. Not all of them were Rotarians, but we got to know them through the process of that activity. And so sharing a moment with somebody can oftentimes turn into a lifelong friendship. The variety of opportunities to give can kind of run the gamut, and as you spread yourself out into the community, you will offer different things to different people. And so there are a lot of fun things to do. You can take tickets at the Winter League ball games and that sort of thing. You can be a docent at a museum. You can usher at a musical concert. So you can enjoy yourself oftentimes while you're volunteering as well. It doesn't always have to be such hard work, but that isn't to say that you should feel guilty about enjoying yourself while you're volunteering. Those are important tasks as well, and they help the patrons enjoy the experience just that much more. There's also some very specific skills that you might want to put in play. And so if you have talents in fundraising or managing or accounting, organizing, those are skills that we don't often think of right off the bat when we consider volunteering our time. But as I mentioned before, volunteer organizations that need volunteers don't always have enough funds to cover all of the aspects of their operation. And so don't be bashful about saying, you know, I can volunteer some time for you if you need your taxes worked on. And certainly there are organizations that help people who are low income receive tax help. And so therefore they can get the earned income credit and be able to lead a little bit better life economically. The opportunities for volunteering spread the gamut of our ages, our age groups. And so when you think of the young people coming up, they are always looking for something to do. And whether they're in an organized group from school or their teacher says, I need you to learn how to give your time through volunteering, so pick a project and report back to me. That's called service learning. And lots of times colleges are now starting to require that prospective students who want to come to their colleges have considerable experience in that area. So it can be very helpful to youngsters growing up to learn how to give back and to be a part of something bigger than themselves. So we look to school classes and clubs and the opportunity for church groups to participate, and oftentimes they'll even go out of the state or out of the country and be able to experience something that they never would have otherwise had the opportunity to do. Then there is the retired worker, so that's the other end of the spectrum. And since I retired about 3 years ago, I've started to think that volunteerism has become my second profession because there's so many things that I'm interested in. And so you have to be careful that you don't get overextended, but you know, there are a variety of things that now you have time to do, and you have some years of experience and some wisdom to give, and maybe a little money too. That's not a bad thing always either. There are people who go to work every day and are in the process of raising their families and making their way in the world, making a living. But there is a greater interest now, more than ever, in looking for employment with companies who want to give back to their communities. And so there's a variety of corporate opportunities to help do things in the community. And for instance, Habitat for Humanity certainly takes advantage of corporate groups that will come from Intel or from a local business, even a smaller business. But they all want to get together on a Saturday and see what they can do, see what they can accomplish. And so that takes a bit of organization, but it really does help the morale of that company. The people bond together, they build teamwork, and so they really feel as though the company cares, and therefore cares about the community, but cares about them too.
Tonight, basically, just want to give you an overview history about the college, kind of some important facts, and to emphasize our role here, and especially I'll focus on our role here in Apache Junction, where we really strive to be a vital partner in the community and being part of its planning and goals, and what we always are investigating best ways that we can do our part in contributing to a good educated workforce here in the community. We're called a community college for a reason, because our purpose is to be here for the community. We are one of our primary goals, and we'll go through some of our goals and stuff they have for the college, but again is to meet the needs of Pinal County as a whole, and with a campus right here in Apache Junction, and again, to be very important in the future plan of this arena. Central Arizona College opened up in Pinal County in 1962. We were established and had enrolled our first class of 7 students in 1969. And then from there, we have grown now to be a multi-campus entity. We are the only higher education institution in Pinal County. And presently, we have 5 campuses around the district. As you notice here, our district in this county is about 5,400 square miles, which we like to say is about the size of the state of Connecticut. So when I was interviewing here and they told me there would be some driving, I didn't know really how much until I got here in 2008. I came from the Midwest out here, and but to serve, and then recently, I've been pretty much focused here. And then you'll notice that our 5 campuses are kind of named after various mountain ranges. For example, where's the Superstition Mountain campus here? We have a Signal Peak campus, and that is down in the Coolidge Casa Grande area. The Aravaipa campus, which is southern part of the county, down not too far from Oracle and Saddlebrook, that area. Our two new campuses, in January of 13, we opened up the Maricopa campus in the city of Maricopa, and this spring, we opened up the campus in the Santan Valley area. So there's been a lot of growth here, and a lot of that has happened thanks to the help of the county residents here. In 2008, we were approved for about $98 million general revenue bond allotment that was approved, and it allowed CAC over a 5-year plan to do some renovation, expansion, and around the district at our different facilities. Here at Apache Junction really benefited because, I don't know if you've seen the campus, but you might have noticed that one building that has the copper top to it and everything. That is a new building we've been in there about 2 years now, and it allowed us to expand our student services area and allowed us to expand our science labs and classrooms. And also, the original structures were renovated and updated. So very proud of that campus. And that was phase 1. Dependent upon future growth, we hope to go to phase 2, which we would include things like possibly like a performing arts center, workout center, just various things. But that will happen in line with what the community needs. We won't be just putting something up if we don't see it's beneficial to the community. So one thing we really try to do is have an educated workforce here in the county, and we like to, because we realize that in working and trying to attract new businesses and entities here, the one thing they look for is, well, we like to come there, but do you have the workforce that we need to establish ourselves? And so a lot of work is done in talking with the community members here to see what is the future plans and what can we do, again, to make it easier to attract more business here. We also are very big on trying to keep our students going to school within the county. And I've never been to a college that has really reached out to our high schools and reach out to the students to try to encourage them to, do their education here. This one program we have called Promise to the Future, it's very interesting. It's, and what it amounts to is that we have this program where we'll approach students like in the 8th grade. And if they sign a contract and meet certain requirements, and they're spelled on here, and and they sign along with the parents, that if they graduate from high school with a grade point average of 2.75 or better, they will receive a Promise to the Future scholarship. And what that provides, it provides a tuition waiver to Central Arizona College for 4 semesters. So it's, and that's committing to, if you look at, on the average associate degree does take 4 semesters, technically a student could go through our college and graduate almost debt-free. The tuition comparison, as we compare to other colleges in the region, and this is for the 2013-14 academic year. ASU, a freshman would pay $677 a credit hour, U of A $670, $634 NAU, Maricopa Community $81, but Central Arizona College $77 a credit hour. We really look at our capture rate of our high school students, and over here gives you an idea of the number of students who have graduated in Pinal County from various high schools, and the capture rate that we do in trying to get students to come to CAC. If you focus on the top one here, Apache Junction High School, we're saying in the spring of 2012, they graduate 333 students and 67 enrolled in CAC. So that's a capture rate of about 20%. And we would like to do much better than that. It's okay. I mean, we're not satisfied with that 20%. We would like to capture more than that. We have a vision statement, and a vision statement, in a sense, is how in this case, how does the college see itself in the future? Where is it we want to be, or we are, we want to stay there? And basically, we want to be a leader in innovative learning, success, and the center for educational opportunities in our diverse community. Like I said, we want to be the center of education in this community. We want to make it so that no other competition doesn't come in here because we provide everything. Because that's why I've noticed when colleges have not invested themselves in the community, other people come. The mission, this is how we carry out our vision. We're going to engage our diverse communities in quality learning experiences for lifelong success, et cetera, in those areas. We have values that we spell out here. And we put these out here because, again, these are on our website. As you learn more about us, you get out there and you see what we value and the 8 things we value here and the direction we're going to take. And then we have our strategic goals, which is the basis of how we build our operational plans and stuff to give us direction and makes us accountable and how we're going to measure if we are reaching our goals and everything. And these are set in 5-year increments. Amen. And take over. Our structure, you may know this, we are, in our district, our overall governance, at the top we call our Board of Governors, our governing board, which there are 5 of them. And in Pinal County, we have 5 districts, and they're elected. Most states I've been through, they've been appointed by the governor. But here, they're elected. And we have 5 of them representing the entire county, the entire community college district. And also, I don't want to forget, our board meetings are open to the public. Those in the Leadership Institute, you're more than welcome to come. Over the years, we listened to the community because we have them on the 3rd Tuesday of the month, and we always had them at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And the community kind of said, you know, a lot of us work or whatever, we can't get to those. So starting this month, we will have it at 6 in the evening, and it's going to be at this campus. And it'll be in that building with the copper top at 6 o'clock. So in extension of this, you want to see how the governance operates and how it runs, I invite you to come to one of our board meetings and just to see.
I am Larry Johnson, the president again of the Apache Junction Chamber of Commerce. That's my sole purpose, but I'm also involved in a lot of other facets around the community. First of all, I'd like to talk a little bit about the chamber. We as a chamber actually run the visitor center as well. Our mission is to promote, develop, and unite the business community in and around Apache Junction to accomplish economic growth. Chambers of Commerce were founded as a business advocacy organization. We're structured in that we are there to advocate for businesses all the way up to state and even federal legislative levels. We want to be the voice of businesses. Obviously, this goes back to ranching and way back in the old days when farming and ranching and other things were much more popular. Ranchers do not want to go down and spend their days arguing, if you will, their points at the front door of the state. Yeah, well, and sometimes they want a caveat between those two. So they want to talk to us and say, okay, this is our problem, this is our concern. Will you address this issue? I have cattle to brand, I have lots to tend to and so forth. So that's kind of how the Chamber of Commerce was founded. Our objectives are very, very broad. In Mesa, you have a Chamber of Commerce, and then you have a separate CVB. A CVB is a Convention and Visitors Bureau, which is typically funded by, it's actually tax revenue, bed tax dollars. So every time someone stays a night in a hotel, that little bed tax notation that you pay, that actually is designated funding that goes for the purpose of furthering the objectives of the Visitors Bureau. In that, they want to lure back more folks to lay in those beds, more folks to visit the restaurants and experience the community. So that's how they're funded. We don't have that benefit just yet. We do receive a little bit of money from the city, about $36,000 a year, to run the visitor center. We run the visitor center. We run the visitor center year round, but November to about March, we're open even on Saturdays. We're able to do that with volunteers. We have 3 full-time staff finally. The first 3 years of my tenure was just myself and my office manager, Jan, but we're up to 3 full-time employees, and then our 24 volunteers actually Some of them are actually winter visitors as well. So they'll come in and spend a little bit more time with us. Fortunately, we love our winter visitor population because they help us at our absolute busiest time. We are the third, because of AOT and cutback in funding, Arizona Office of Tourism and their cutback in funding, we don't know if we're third or fourth as far as the largest visitor center, as far as visitor numbers, visitor head counts in the state. That isn't, of course, we're not competing with the Grand Canyon and some of those other areas, but we are a visitor center that we welcome approximately 34,000 visitors on an annual basis. That's a pretty substantial number, especially for a community that's about 37,000 year-round residents. As far as the chamber is concerned, as far as the promotion portion, I'll kind of start off there. We produce a business directory each and every year. It's actually our business directory, relocation, and visitors guide. The purpose of this is, as you guys have mentioned, the folks who are new to town might be interested in history, education, housing, demographics, key contact telephone numbers, all of those things. So we produce a publication on an annual basis that's circulated for those purposes. This directory actually is also circulated at our airport. And when I say airport, I'm talking about the Phoenix Mesa Gateway Airport. As far as I know, it's also the only full-size visitor's guide in that location currently. So many people think that print is going out of style and we're going to evolve away from print. And I wouldn't disagree with that entirely. However, identifying the demographic we cater to, including, of course, our winter visitors, we want to make sure that we produce enough of these. We're up to 16,000 copies on an annual basis, based on need alone. We don't print anymore unless we find that we've already run out. So about 2 years ago, we had 15,000 in print, and each year we've identified that we need to produce a few more. And I think we were just about at our number. However, like I say, now that we're in the airport, I'm kind of curious to see how many more will circulate over the next year or so. We also do promotion through our website. It's Apache Junction Chamber or ajchamber.com, either one. We shorten that up. We have a presence on social media just because not only have we identified we need to cater to our winter visitors, but we also want to attract a younger demographic as well. We want younger families to know that we have affordable housing for them, as well as, well, frankly, a lot of the natural adventure. We have lakes, rivers, streams, of course, mountains, Lost Dutchman State Park, our Goldfield Ghost Town, Dolly Steamboat, a lot of the things that aren't necessarily in the city, but are directly outside and definitely enhance the quality of life of, here in Apache Junction. We also have, of course, with our facility alone and all that foot traffic, we have plenty and ample display space. So we have all of our businesses receive a place for their business cards and typically trifold type flyers. So that's a benefit of being a member of the Chamber. Chamber of Commerce is a membership driven organization. We contract out to run the visitor center, but it's not our sole purpose. Average membership dues for our organization is $225 for the year, and that includes all of the networking and all the other benefits that I'll talk about here briefly, as well as displaying your information for those 30,000+ folks that come through our doors on an annual basis. We've developed and established the Festival of Superstitions. That's also in partnership with the City of Apache Junction, as well as a few other sponsors. I don't know if anyone has heard of or attended the Festival of Superstitions. Actually, I know a couple people in the room have, but anybody heard of the Festival of Superstitions? Hello, Martin. It's basically an event that we started a few years ago, and it was just, well, let's have an outdoor event. And then it evolved into, well, let's do vendors, and then let's have an art show, and what about a car show? And we frankly, for lack of a better term, throw it towards the wall and see what sticks and what's popular. So beyond that, Shop Local discount card program. You'll start hearing a little bit more about that we'll start probably promoting that, I'm thinking in April. That is something I've been brainstorming on for quite some time. It's a discount card, and actually I thought I had a copy, I apologize. But it's a discount card, just like a Fry's shopping card. And it has indicated on 5 or 10, 15, and 20%. It's only good from May to October. Obviously, many of our businesses really struggle at that time of the year. So through partnerships with the local newspapers, we're going to promote this event. It's going to obtain the card will be free for all anyone who wants the card. All you'll have to provide to us is an email address. Everyone who participates as far as a business is concerned, they have an option to sign up for the 10, the 15, or 20% discount. They must offer that for the most part in its entirety throughout the store. So that will handcuff some folks. Of course, Harley-Davidson is closely registered. You're not going to be able to say 20% off that Harley, and I'm driving it out today. I don't think that's going to fly so well. But this is really stemmed more from trying to generate revenue and generate business interest and actually reestablish people's habits as far as shopping local. It's called a shop local card, and the reason for that is, I don't know about you, but I am guilty of this at times. I realize, okay, it's time of the year, I'm hungry, it's 5:15, I'm just getting ready to leave the office, and I'm thinking, how can I possibly get a bite to eat within the next hour and 45 minutes without having to wait for that? So we've seen that happen quite frequently as I've talked to people throughout the community. So what we're trying to do is redevelop the relationship with the local restaurant. They get used to saying, you know, I'm on my way home, honey, I'm down on Power Road, I'll just stop down here and grab a pizza, or, you know, I'll grab some Chinese on my way in, rather than going in and soliciting our local restaurants. So the idea is, again, trying to show appreciation and mutually beneficial appreciation for the residents and the consumers who sustain those restaurants year-round, as well as many of our other businesses. Most of our businesses absolutely could not survive, whether you hear that or not, or understand that or not, could not survive without our winter visitors. So when you hear people curse about, oh, the winter visitors, this and that and the other thing, this beautiful facility wouldn't be here without our winter visitors. I mean, you're looking at literally doubling your population, as well as a lot of those folks have expendable income. They're coming down their diesel pushers, or they have their park models, and I can tell you, as a visitor center that welcomes about 30,000 a year, I don't see people pulling up in jalopies out front. They have some means, so they're able to really help us weather the summer storm, if you will.